Some weeks you pay a lot of attention to the episode. Some weeks you're at your daughter's 3-foot high little play table eating leftover meatloaf watching the episode. And guess where we are this week?
Hey, this is awesome.
Oh, fuck. Hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
And I'm drunk, so this is a real cocktail for a great recap podcast of Smallville. Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talon Mix. It's a Smallville recap podcast. I'm Brian. Zach is here. We're doing great. We're making it happen.
Brian, I can't believe we have to have this conversation again. There is no podcast. You don't have a podcast. Brian, we're not friends. I'm not your buddy. We didn't go to film school together.
You're just trying.
I am your psychiatrist.
Me. You're just trying to.
I am your. This is BetterHelp.com. I am your psychiatrist. Every week, you insist on talking about Smallville. What happened on Smallville that week, and I can't play along with you. I'm trying to help you.
Listen, I know that you're just lying to me right now. You're trying to confuse me. You're part of an evil conspiracy to convince me that I don't have a podcast on the levels of Joe Rogan, where you and I talk about Smallville.
Well, I can assure you that's not true.
Okay, for this week, could we pull a Shutter Island where you pretend and you humor me that we have a Smallville podcast together? And maybe that will cure me, or I get a lobotomy.
Even though you make that same argument every week, I'm gonna, because I like getting the money from you as your doctor. I'm gonna patronize. I'm gonna play along. Okay. Hey, it's Zach, your buddy from film school.
This is a really fucked up relationship that we have. This violates some sort of fucking Hippocratic oath.
Yeah.
But hey, well, either way,
I might not be. Yeah. If I'm not, maybe I'm not a doctor. Maybe I'm actually a phantom in your brain. I lost track of the metaphor, but.
Look, either way, this week we're talking about Labyrinth, the 12th episode of the 6th season of Smallville, and the 122nd episode overall. It aired January 25th, 2007. I know all this, of course, because I'm reading directly from the Smallville wiki, smallville.fandom.com. This episode is an interesting one, not a stinker.
No, it's fine. It's a type of episode that these kinds of shows do, right? It's the kind of the Elseworlds type of episode.
You and I talked a bit about, like, is this a trope? Is this officially a trope? And where did that trope start? I guess I would have first saw it here, but I remember a Buffy episode did it. Basically, where, like, the hero of your adventure show is actually crazy and in a mental hospital.
She's even in an institution in it.
It's the Buffy episode is this episode, but much better.
See, okay, so what I thought of when I watched this was the Community episode. I think it's season 3, where I think it's John Hodgman is like the doctor trying to convince them that they haven't been in this institution or whatever. Imagine the whole show,
right?
And that so do you think the Community people got it from Buffy? 'Cause it wasn't Smallville.
It wasn't Smallville. Yeah, I think the question is, did they get it from Buffy? Was it a lateral thinking a decade apart? Or is it more of a trope than we realize?
Trying to think
it's one of those three.
I feel like Batman the Animated Series had something where he was asleep and it was the Scarecrow messing with him. Maybe
that also sounds familiar to me. Basically, if you know more of these, if there's a fucking episode of Law and Order SVU where Ice Cube is in a mental
Ice-T.
Ice-T. Oh my God. You're right. I'm drunk.
Wow, you're canceled. Canceled.
So the Buffy episode, I think, does it the best because that ends on a, yep, shit. Maybe Buffy's just crazy. Maybe this whole show just is that. And that's how it ends.
It's an Inception ending.
And it doesn't give you a firm, like, no, a monster did this. It's just like, yeah, no, maybe she is just nuts.
Oh, see, that's fun.
That's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smallville is too cowardly.
This episode also takes a couple notes from the movie made by the most canceled people, I think, Usual Suspects. Mm-hmm. It takes a few notes from the ending of that.
Yeah, there's a big. Have you listened to the Seth Meyers and the Lonely Island podcast? That is the name of that podcast.
You told me about it though.
They recently talked about a Lonely Island written sketch. It was a Kevin Spacey episode, and Andy Samberg is explaining to Kevin Spacey why he was late, and then as it goes through, Kevin Spacey is looking around the room and all the things around there. I was on the subway, and there's a Subway sandwich, and there were two men painted in gold. Kevin Spacey with his 2 Oscars, so. The sketch actually ends with a fax, like in The Usual Suspects, and it prints out, and it's Andy Samberg's face going, "I lied." But what I guess they wanted was for it to come out. The fax comes out, Kevin Spacey grabs it, and it reads, "Remember that movie," which is what it should have ended with.
Yeah, 100%. Gosh, I got to look that up. That's funny.
It's a good sketch. It's you start to realize how Kevin Spacey got away with all of his heinous shit. He is very good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like, did people forget that he was really good at?
I forgot how fucking good he was. But I was watching that SNL, and oh man, he's really good. That's how he was able to be a monster. Any other thoughts before we get into the recap?
I could do like 20 more minutes on Kevin Spacey. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm ready to go on it, I think, probably. All right. Clark is finishing up his farm chores in his barn while waiting for Chloe when Shelby starts barking. He goes to check on him, but is suddenly stricken by a sudden blast of pressure that sends him falling down to the barn floor. We have green text now.
Oh, shit.
This is so we know, without a shadow of a doubt, that Clark is crazy.
Can we, first of all, just to break character of Zach for a moment, as your psychiatrist, I do not like the word crazy. I don't use a pejorative term like that. Okay, about yourself.
Okay, all right. I got it. Sorry, recorrect. May I use the word Nutter Butters?
Yes, that is much better.
Great. Sorry, we're using green text here to now show that Clark is Nutter Butters.
As your friend, Zach, I'm wondering, did Clark get a concussion? Because he falls off the thing and lands, and then he's asleep, but I don't know if that was caused by the landing or by the Phantom.
Yeah, I gotta say, not confirmed.
Not conclusive. All right.
Not enough for me.
I won't mark it off on this sheet that I have. That's real.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
nope. I see the sheet.
Part of your imagination.
I see the sheet 100%. And you're not marking it 100%. This is all real.
It's hard to do that gag when no one can see me and not mark a real sheet.
I don't know what you're talking about. Gag. This is being broadcast to millions of people in very, very produced fashion. All right. So Clark wakes up in a common area of a mental hospital wearing white scrubs. He is suitably confused, but when he asks how he got there, the other patients mock and tease him, asking if he got attacked by crypto freaks again. I
do want to say the doctor really lost control of this group.
Yeah, I also love
group of patients.
I love these crazy pants patients who are like, this guy's fucking nuts.
Yeah. But the doctor's just letting them heckle him.
Yep.
Just no
safe space here. Because it's 2007 and we aren't a bunch of pussies.
What are you, snowflake, Clark? You fucking snowflake.
You need a safe space to explore your mental fucking trauma? Clark gets upset and the guards come to carry him away. He tries to use his super speed to get away, but it fails him. He is shocked when the guards overpower him and drag him into a small isolation room. When Clark calms down, an older man, Dr. Hudson, comes in. Clark thinks he's in level 33.1 and that he's been captured by Lex Luthor. Dr. Hudson reminds him that, in fact, he has been suffering from paranoid schizophrenia for over 5 years now. Of course, all depictions of schizophrenia on television are wildly accurate. I have seen a crazy fucking thing. I saw this on TikTok of the guy making the video suffers from schizophrenia, has a support dog with the command, if he thinks he sees something or someone, he can command the dog to greet. And if there is a person there, the dog will go greet it. If there is not a person there, the dog will hold still because there isn't a person there.
That's cool. That's cool. God, animals are fucking cool.
Incredible, right?
That's dope. Yeah, it's amazing.
So he explains that Clark has created an elaborate fantasy in which he was an alien with superpowers, and during his freshman year of high school, began to live in this fantasy all of the time. He says Clark is getting worse, but he has developed a treatment that will soon cure him. I love this treatment that will just cure schizophrenia.
Yeah, and it involves a big drill.
Yep.
Just, I mean, you can't poke holes in this episode because it's all in his head. It
is true.
A dream. So, I guess the Venom is just kind of lazy in his fantasy that he's creating for him. So, Clark's not bright enough to be like, hey, wait a second.
And to be fair, he doesn't.
No, yeah.
So Clark tells him to tell Lex that he's not buying it. But Dr. Hudson patiently says that he has been institutionalized in the Fairview Psychiatric Hospital for 5 years, and his whole secret identity and alien lineage is merely delusions. Back in the common room, Clark is standing in line for medication when another patient whispers that he believes him, addressing him as Kal-El. He claims that he is from Mars. However, just as he tells Clark not to trust anyone, the orderlies come from behind him and taser him unconscious. I will say...
You recognize the actor who plays Martian Manhunter, Brian?
I recognize that this was Martian Manhunter. I did not... The actor did seem familiar.
He plays Jackie Childs on Seinfeld.
Wow.
Yeah, the Johnny Cochran-esque lawyer that Kramer always gets.
Wow.
Who told you to put the bomb on?
That's so funny. Wow. That's amazing. I will say everything this character says here does sound crazy.
Right, yeah. I'm from Mars. Yeah. I believe you. I think he's a good Martian Manhunter, though. I like him.
You know what? As far as Martian Manhunters go, we haven't got a lot on film.
Right, and I don't know anything about the actual Martian Manhunter. All I know is from this show and then from the whatever they were doing in Justice League, the movie. But I love the Smallville version. It's just a dude who wears leather and then his eyes light up sometimes. Right?
It's most of my Martian Manhunter knowledge comes from the Justice League cartoon, and he's a smart Martian.
Is he a shapeshifter or is he just green?
I do. The shape-shifting powers are a real thing.
Okay.
I mostly remember him from the cartoon though, like on the base in the Cape, being I'm a smart Martian.
Where's their base? Is that in space?
It's in space,
show?
Baby.
Oh man, who pays for that? Batman. It's got to be Batman.
It's got to be Batman. I don't remember because I remember in Justice League, Superman is the one like we should put a team together, and Batman is like I'll help out sometimes. But peace. This isn't really my thing, even though he's in most of the episodes anyway.
Wouldn't it have been cool if we got a movie of the Justice League that was like a fun movie where they have a base in space and they, team up on fun adventures instead of like a dour.
That'd be real great. I'd really love that.
Space is fucking for babies.
It's for babies. We're doing realistic stuff like mother boxes.
We need apocalyptic fantasies with demons. Again, that sounds better than what we got, actually.
Right. I would rather see this element of like it's all very silly, but it all has to be grounded in some way. And like if you're having fun, it doesn't have to be.
No. I want the space. I want the Moonraker, like space base that Bruce Wayne paid for, that the Justice League hangs out in. Give me a big set. Give me a big set.
You know what is occurring to me is the scene in Face Off. Face Off is not an outright hard sci-fi movie, right? It's a Nicolas Cage, John Travolta action vehicle, but still has a sequence involving a prison beneath the water where everyone is wearing magnet boots.
That's what I knew. That's what you were talking about when you brought it up. I was like, yeah, it's the real world, except there's magnet boots,
and it fucking rules.
Yeah.
What happened to that? What happened to little bits of imagination in movies?
I don't know.
9/11 happened. 9/11 happened.
Give me soft sci-fi. I want some soft sci-fi back. But I love the. Do you think that movie started out as like a hard sci-fi and then became an action movie? Is that like maybe that's left over from it?
With John Woo, I have truly no idea.
Right, that's true. He's like,
I truly am afraid to break open that movie too hard. It's my wife and I were just talking about Face Off the other day. It was on Box Office Game recently. With
97. Yep.
But my wife and I were talking like it was a box office game, a game where you boxoffice.ga or sorry boxoffice.me. You can go play. It gives you a random date, and then you can guess what the box office was. That so Men in Black was number 1, which is a great movie, perfect script, perfect screenplay. And then under that is Face Off, which is, my wife and I agreed, not a perfect movie, but it is the most movie.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't get more movie than that.
You don't get more movie than Face Off.
Per minute, no.
Just the most movie bang for your buck.
Yes. And I would say, like, I just saw Kevin Costner's Horizon. That's like the least movie per minute.
Please give a quick for people who don't know, because they might not, because no one saw it. What the fuck is Kevin Costner's Horizon?
I saw it. I saw it. It is
Zach,
part one.
Why? Zach, I saw a TV spot and I went, oh, no one's going to go see that. Except my friend Zach, apparently.
So here's what happened. I saw the original trailer and I said, I might check that out because I like Westerns and I like some Kevin Costner Westerns.
Costner's not a bad director, also, worth noting.
No, the last one he did was Open Range, which is really good.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I'll check that out. And then I saw more about it. The reviews came out. I'm like, this sounds terrible. I'll pass. But then I started to see some people I trust and follow on Letterboxd come forward and say, 3.5 stars. This has some really good stuff. This is something you should check out if you like these kinds of movies. And then I saw it, and the critics were right. It is essentially a TV show that it's one of those TV shows that doesn't have episodes, though.
Yep.
It's just like where they were like, this is a 10-hour movie. And then it's like they cut the first 3 hours and made that part one. And it literally doesn't end on a cliffhanger. It doesn't end with resolution. It just ends.
I can't believe they don't even end it on a cliffhanger.
No, it ends on, there's threads still in the air.
Yeah.
But most of these plots haven't even really started yet. We're just like, we're meeting people for 3 hours. And like,
I'm shocked that like part two, this is supposed to be like, it was supposed to be 2 parts, and then it's like Costner's like, it's gonna be 4 parts. Part 2 is gonna come, it was supposed to come out in like September. Like anyone was gonna want to do that.
No, yeah, it's over now though. They pulled it.
They pulled it because who would want to do that?
I mean, it would have been diminishing returns, certainly. There's stuff to like in the movie. If it was a TV show, it would be like, this is kind of a B minus.
Sure.
Like, I really like the Costner stuff. He's in a good Costner movie within this movie.
Yeah.
There's several of these would make good movies on their own, probably, maybe. But in the current form, it's just formless and kind of. It held my attention, but it doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like a show.
I bet they recut it as a show and debuted on a streaming service as a show.
I think that's what Netflix is trying to get them to do. It would make more sense. And to be honest, it looks like a show. They shot it on digital.
Ain't that the thing? You talked about like, digital Western sucks.
Yeah, and there's probably an exception that I don't know about. Someone did it really well, but the way they shoot it, it looks like it's shot on digital, and I don't know, it looks like a TV show, which is fine. But when I go to the theater to see a Western, I want to see it shot on film. I want to see those big visas.
Yeah, man. I watched Tombstone recently for the first time.
What'd you think?
I thought it was going to be better.
I'm in the same place with Tombstone.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time watching it. I had a good time watching it. I'm glad to have seen it. But like, it's
really it's just the Kilmer performance is all that movie really has going for it.
I will say what it also has going for it is large Western sets with lots of extras.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
And landscapes and scenery that breathes. And what I also don't think we get anymore is Bill Paxton dies and Val Kilmer goes out into the rain covered in blood. Why him? All big blockbuster movies are just sort of filed down into like action comedies. You don't get that kind of like overwrought emotional melodrama anymore. So I liked all that. That said, I think the movie's just okay.
You should watch, and if we had another movie podcast where we did 2 movies that were alike, we could do this. But yeah, Tombstone and Wyatt Earp came out around the same time. Right. And I actually prefer Wyatt Earp, which is a scolding hot take.
I believe it. I think Tombstone. I had fun with Tombstone. it was a little, my friend was like, you haven't seen Tombstone? We have to watch Tombstone. And it was a little like, I get why I haven't seen Tombstone. After seeing this, I understand.
Is like one of those basic cable classics where it's like people love it because they've seen it 400 times on TV in various parts.
Exactly.
But watching it from beginning to end, it's like, it's fine.
100%. I enjoyed my time with it, but like, yeah, I get how I haven't seen this.
Yeah. But Kilmer has so many good lines in that.
So great.
I have 2 guns, one for each of you. That's
just
the best.
Chewing it up.
Good. Yeah. Oh man. It's like, was that like one of the biggest scenery chewing performances of all time? I mean,
it borders
Jack
on
Nicholson
too
is
much
Joker.
a lot.
Yeah. Jack Nicholson is the Joker.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday.
All right. Should we get back to Smallville? I can talk about Tombstone.
Yeah, I mean, it's your paranoid delusion. So whatever you want to do. If you want to talk about Smallville, we can talk about that.
All right. I think we should bring it back. But Clark,
unless you want to do some real work and talk about kind of what's going on inside, No,
let's do Smallville. Clark sees a janitor enter a broom closet and follows him in. He sneaks up on him, punches him out, and steals his uniform, escaping out of a side door. Clark heads to the barn to find Lana in his loft. It is furnished with Lana's things, and she is dressed up and delighted to see him.
Okay. First point of hold on, before we get to that. Clark knocks a guy out in his mind. The guy gets a concussion. Are we counting this? Because let me tell you, we have counted car crashes that take place in alternate timelines, fantasies before. Is that the same thing? Because we're counting how many times they use the trope, or are we counting specifically?
I'm inclined to say yes. That is what I am inclined to say. That is what Brian, feel. I see the argument for car wrecks. We're arguing the production's car stunts.
Yes.
Whereas
here's what I would say. If it was a Lex concussion, I would say we can't count it. Because we're counting brain damage with Lex. Like, we're really trying to keep track of how much damage this guy has done to his brain.
I think if we can't count it for Lex, we can't count it for anybody.
I think that might be the right move. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I agree.
Yeah.
We ruled on it. Yep.
All right.
We don't need to call Emily.
No. I think that's it. I think precedent has been set. And we abide by precedent, unlike certain political bodies in the United States at the moment.
I was like, I see that, and I'm going to pass on it. And then I'm glad you just went there because I agree. It's very frustrating.
It's frustrating. It's just frustrating.
Yeah. It's settled law until it isn't anymore.
Until
we decide it's not.
All right. So Lana runs into Clark's arms, but Clark has to ask why she's there. She says, I'm going to read kind of this whole scene before I get into it. She says that she and Nell bought the farm after Jonathan's death, and she lives there waiting for him. So I love this idea that we will learn that in this reality, Clark and Lana have been dating effectively since kindergarten, or at least since they were 10 years old. The idea that your crazy boyfriend shows up unannounced and you have anything other than, ha 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 ha, this is not where I expected to see you. Oh boy. Like a little more on guard.
Yeah, and again, you could chalk that up to this is Clark's fantasy or the Phantom's. the Phantom's trying to give Clark what he wants. Right.
That's all true.
Right?
Kristen Crook does not have a lot to do here other than doe-eye over Clark.
Right. She's doing her best with what she has. She's doing the most with the least right here, like she always does.
This is why Kristen Crook is one of the best in the show, because she does so much with so little.
And I think she nails it here, though, because I think that's the point.
I'm in love with her here, but I'm an idiot.
You're right. Right. It is insulting to Clark that he's fallen for this.
Yes.
He's not like, this is weird. Why are you you own the whole house. Why are you setting up shop in the loft? That's a weird move. You got all your shit in here.
Right. I'm falling for this hook, line, and sinker. But Clark is still confused, especially when Lana says they have been dating since freshman year. Clark asks about Whitney, but Lana insists that he is the only person she has ever loved.
You mean the football jock?
The most realistic thing of like, that old fuck?
Yeah. He
Clark,
sells insurance now.
Clark, that doesn't make any sense. He was old as hell.
Yeah. He was a senior, and he was also 35.
And he was a 35-year-old
I was
senior.
14. That would have been weird.
That would have been weird, Clark. This makes way more sense, Clark. So Lana insists that Clark is the only person she has ever loved. She thinks Clark took Dr. Hudson's treatment and was released, but Clark admits that he escaped and says Lex put him there. Also, Clark, come on, man. The move here is like, yes, I did take the treatment.
Right, yeah. He's so slow. He's, for the fastest man in the world, barring the Flash, he's pretty slow. He's like,
yep.
No, I escaped. I straight up escaped. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I did not get. What treatment? What are you talking
about? Clark admits he escaped and says Lex put him there. He says he doesn't care if they're engaged, but Lana says she hardly knows Lex. Clark thinks Lana is in on it and demands to know where his mother is. Lana says she is at the Luther mansion, and Clark exits quickly.
Where's my mom?
Where's my mom? She's at another set we have.
She's in the Green Arrow's apartment for some reason.
Okay, so Clark finds Martha in the library. By library, you mean the mansion room.
Yes, yeah. I think there's two rooms that look the same and are probably the same room, but it's supposed to be like his office and then the library. I think
it's same goddamn room.
I feel they definitely move it around. They're like,
yes,
it's constantly changing. So
they might redress that room, but they are filming all of those scenes in the same room. Zach, no joke, diegetically in the fiction, you're right. Fuck, we've seen the door to that room that doesn't lead up to that library.
Right. Yeah.
It's diegetically supposed to be a different room.
Yes. Yeah.
You're right.
And I never think of it that way.
Right. I always think it's sort of overlooking the room it looks identical to.
Because one of them has a pool table, right?
Yeah.
And the fireplace. We gotta go. Damn it. We need to do, that Shining documentary, Room 2?
Yeah.
whatever the room is. We need to do that for the Smallville set. The fucking Luther Mansion. We need to, because in that movie, one of the segments is about a person who like tries to map out the Overlook, and it doesn't make sense, the layout.
Because it's not about that.
No, and I think it's probably on purpose by Kubrick to make it seem bigger and more maze-like than it is.
Right.
But we need to do that for the Luther Mansion.
We need to do that for the Luther Mansion, and then we should call Talkville about it. Except, God forbid they engage with this show in an interesting way.
You know what's funny? Because it was just like YouTube knew that I had listened to Talkville or whatever. So there was some link from the podcast where I watched it, and there was some really interesting shit here. And I'm like, oh, look, there is interesting stuff on the show. And then I realized it was him interviewing Welling for his other podcast. That's where the interesting stuff was.
It's, you know what? I think there was a part of us that maybe hoped that like there could be some like, I don't know. Could we ping pong off of each other a little bit? Part of us hoped that. That's gone. We are purely fans, and we can now comment as fans on how bad that podcast is. On how much of a disappointment that is to you and I, fans of the show, who would like to learn interesting things about the show, and we're not.
I think they do have, once in a while, they have interesting tidbits, but it's buried within like 30 minutes of ads and 20 minutes of like they're not really into it.
I think the show's unlistenable. I think the show is unlistenable.
I like to listen to the season finale of each one because they do like best of, and there's some good shit in there.
Sure.
Right?
Great. They got some good shit talking about the entire season.
Again, I'm a huge fan of his Inside of You.
I think Inside of You is good.
And I like both of them as actors and as personalities.
Agreed. Agreed.
The show doesn't do it for me.
I think, and here's the thing, and here's where I feel comfortable being like the show is bad. They don't give a shit about it either. They kind of regret doing it, and it's becoming clear. Yeah. They thought they'd make some money on it. They're not, and now they don't care. And that's fine, but we ain't made a goddamn to this show. This show right here breaks even.
And how does that make you feel, Brian, that this show you're making breaks even and it's not a huge hit?
Honestly, I'm pretty happy with it overall, considering.
Good. That's good, Brian. I want you to feel good.
Yeah. I feel okay about it. Great. Considering it's just my buddy and then I do no work on it afterwards. And because I do work on another thing, and it's a lot of work.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do a lot of work, and you spend time with your friend, Zach, from film school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your good friend who is your real friend in real life.
Yes. I'm going to go back to Smallville now. Is that okay?
Okay. I thought we were getting somewhere, but that's okay. We can go back to your podcast.
Dr. Zach, let me be clear. We will never get anywhere. I only want to talk about Smallville now. Character Zach K. Play Character Zach again. I don't want Dr. Zach anymore. I want Character Zach.
Hey, buddy. Let's talk about Smallville.
Yeah, thank you. Where were we? Okay, Clark finds Martha in the library. I think we stopped at the word library.
Yeah.
Martha says that everyone has been looking for him since he escaped. Clark is shocked that his mother allowed him to be in there, but Martha tells him to calm down. She admits that following Jonathan's death, she and Lionel are actually married, and urges him to take the treatment. She pushes an alarm and Clark runs away. I love first off, Annette O'Toole actually doing a lot with a little here. I liked what she was doing here enough.
Yeah. No, yeah. She's great.
I do love that she hit sorry.
I was just gonna say, do you think like John Glover was busy this week or something? Because it's not like they have to pay him. He's in the opening credits, right?
Right. So he gets a check.
Right. So, like, wouldn't you want him to come in and hit a couple threes and then leave?
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a base pay, or either he's in a deleted scene that didn't work, and they cut it out for timing? I'd want to see that if that was the case.
Yeah.
Either that, or like the man's allowed to take vacation days in the contract, or he gets paid more if he actually shows up. I don't know. I don't know.
He's a Broadway actor, so maybe he had something. I mean, who knows?
That
would be a good question for Talkville.
Would be a great question for Talkville. But yeah, it does make sense that like you got it. He's on staff. He's a staff player. Right. You don't want him to come in and just like hit it on base, like.
Yeah, exactly. He'd get an RBI,
right?
Just get like a.
You went basketball with your analogy. I don't know that one.
Okay, well, let's go baseball. John Glover only ever gets on base. Like usually he gets a double.
Bare minimum on base.
Bare minimum, he's on base. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Sometimes he gets walked. Sometimes. That's when he's like in a scene with like some guest star who doesn't have the juice, and he's just he's getting walked because he's.
John Glover ain't struck out though ever.
No, not on this show.
Not on this show.
Not on this show.
Okay, so Clark runs away. Guards chase him through the grounds. Just as they are about to capture him, Chloe drives up, and Clark climbs into the car with her. Chloe seems to believe. Yes, Zach.
Did you notice that this was filmed in snow and not fake set snow? This was filmed in real snow?
I did not catch that, Zach. I'm not going to lie to you. I watched a lot of this episode with headphones in while I was doing dishes, my computer on my toddler's
the reason I bring it up
table.
It's because I first saw the shot and I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot of fake snow. And I was like, oh, no, that's real. And then I remembered there was a snowstorm the year we were at Vancouver. We were there for that very snowstorm.
Wow. Wow. I remember. So I'm from the Northeast.
And it was that time of year. The time lines up.
Yes. Wow. That's incredible. I remember snow hitting Vancouver, and I remember a big snow in Vancouver, and I remember kind of making fun of it because I'm from the Northeast,
right? Because you're from the East Coast, yeah.
And before global warming, we got hit with that a lot more, and I remember laughing at Vancouver for like shutting down for this like snowstorm of the infrastructure could not handle this snowstorm.
Oh no, that's Portland is the exact same way. It's like when I was in LA, I think I made a joke where it was like in LA when it rains, they act like Portland acts when it snows, and in Portland when it snows, we act like Minnesota acts during the zombie apocalypse. It's so funny how that works. Yeah, we're very temperate on the up in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
So
it's up by you guys. It's just kind of nice all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can deal with overcast, then this is heaven for you. But
I think I belong over there, man.
Yeah.
I'm such a Northeast boy. I'm to my core. I feel wrong. I presently live just south of the Northeast. I'm officially in the South, right?
Yeah.
But I'm a Northeast boy. I feel uncomfortable to my core, be like past the Jersey line. And it's hot down here and I don't like it. Chloe drives up and Clark climbs into the car with her. Chloe seems to believe everything is different and tells him that she's been in hiding because she knows the truth about him. I'm going to say, and this is, look, I'm just going to say it. Allison Mack plays someone who's gone off the deep end a little more convincingly than everybody else.
That's a great way to put it. I was going to say, I think this is another point for her in the MVP race for this season. And it's a weak year. It's a weak
year. It is a good performance.
No one else is standing out.
Here's the thing. Chloe acting a little. We don't hold it.
Better.
We don't hold it against a director when they're channeling pain into their movies. We don't hold it against a writer when they're doing it. Why should we hold it against a performer in a silly Smallville show?
No, we can't. We can't. No, she's also, we're awarding the season that was made in 2006, 2007. We're not rewarding this person for something they're doing now after these crimes have been committed. This is before the crimes have been committed.
Right. / maybe while.
I mean, I guess we could Google it, but I thought it was more toward the end.
She's in there now. She's in NXIVM now.
Are you sure?
I'm sure is a strong word. I'm pretty positive. At this point, like, Kristen Kreuk might still be involved, which is, I think, the you're just getting duped.
Yeah, I thought Kristen Kreuk just went to a couple seminars.
She's a little more. She was a little more involved than that, based on some of my reading. But she was never past like the self-help element of it.
She was like, "Oh, this is weird and creepy. Maybe I shouldn't do this."
I'm doing Allison Mack NXIVM years.
That sounds like the name of part 2 of her autobiography.
The NXIVM years.
Yeah.
God, okay, hang on. When did you get involved? Give me a year. When did you get involved? Okay, the subgroup, the branding isn't until 2015.
Yeah, see, it's way after.
Way after. I'm looking for Wikipedia here. Mack is the co-creator of The Source, a NXIVM program that recruited actors. She was also a member of Simply Human, an a cappella NXIVM singing group, and MC of Acapella Innovations, a multi-day festival hosted by NXIVM in 2007. The events were billed as a university singing showcase that were alleged to be a front to draw impressionable undergrads to NXIVM.
Oh, whoa, you just blew my fucking mind.
So 2007, she's involved in NXIVM. She's probably not doing... she is not probably herself involved in crimes in NXIVM for a while. But she's like
her heart out in that acapella group. She's just in the fucking acapella group, bro.
Fuck, that sucks. Allison Mack.
Oh man, this is not the show to really unpack anything like that.
No, it's not. All we can do is browse through Wikipedia and go, oh, fuck. This is not journalism. We have no takes. All Zach and I are doing, to be clear, and if you are not comfortable with it, we completely understand. All Zach and I can do, will ever do, is browse through Wikipedia and go, fuck.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
That's it.
100%. Let's go. Oh no, an acapella group.
Oh.
That makes it worse somehow.
I don't know how, but it does. All right.
Because it's just like the idea of a sinister acapella group is really something that just makes
I
me
don't
uncomfortable.
know if I've ever met anyone in an a cappella group who wasn't like a little fucked up. I've met a handful of people in a cappella groups, and not a one of them have I thought are cool, chill, normal people.
You're painting with a broad brush, and you need to really tone down your rhetoric, Brian. Okay? You need to tone down that rhetoric.
Here's the thing about the broad brush. Sometimes it's accurate. Here's my anti-acapella fucking stance. I will not walk back my thoughts in any capacity, and you can't make me.
And if anyone disagrees with anything Brian said in this podcast or I've said, you can just chalk it up to this is a part of the bit where he's in an institution or he's talking to a psychiatrist over.
And or comment on YouTube, or I think Spotify has comments now. I think you can if you're listening on Spotify, you can directly comment. Fucking give us that engagement, baby. Give us that engagement, baby.
Brian will say whatever crazy shit he has to
I'll say whatever fucking crazy shit I have to do to get a reaction out of you. I'll fucking do it.
The Smallville recap podcast just becomes like a shock jock. Fucking hot take.
Just a full Howard Stern, like we'll be like, show us your boobies right now, huh?
Yeah.
Howard Stern was both very formative to me and like, what the fuck was I doing?
You're like, Zach, dude, I got this new Dungeons and Dragons game. I'm like, did you fuck it? Fuck the game?
Did you? That's exactly it. That's.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough how, to a certain generation of people who want to talk in front of microphones, how formative Howard Stern was. And it really was true. What Zach just did is exactly how it was. Of like, hey, I just found this thing. Can you have sex with it? Is there a place to put your penis?
Yeah. Did you ever fuck? Did you ever bone?
It's speaking of that, Michael Rosenbaum was on. I don't know who Theo Vaughn is, but I think he's popular in the YouTube podcasty community, specifically in like the comedy-ish community. Once again, I don't fucking know who this guy is.
Yeah.
But Michael Rosenbaum was on his podcast and he was talking about Allison Mack, and like this guy was just like, "Did you like want to fuck her?" And Michael Rosenbaum, who is not like the chillest or not the most careful with that stuff, was like, "No, I was so much older than them."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, "But like, would you have?" And like, no. But like, if like you had to, would you? I'm not kidding. You can like find. They clipped this to like put on YouTube.
Oh my gosh! Boo! Good for Michael Rosenbaum. So,
Michael Rosenbaum did it all right.
Yeah, Howard Stern would have been. He would have fired off a totally random other question immediately to like throw him off.
Right.
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 Yeah, like did you fuck it? Who's your favorite Nazi?
Zach, you have a pretty good Howard Stern impression.
You just do a deep voice. It's just like quick, short questions in a deep voice. That's
it.
Yeah. Do you fuck? Do you fuck? How often do you fuck?
It's like he's here. Were you a Stern fan at all?
My dad loved him, and so I listened a lot.
Yeah.
No, like he's hilarious and he's got takes, sometimes he says crazy shit that I'm like, that's insane, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, you're right on the money, buddy. I know he's very entertaining to listen to.
That's kind of where I am at look. Stern was a very formative place in my youth, and
Yeah.
I look back at a lot of things in my youth of it shouldn't have gone that way.
Yeah. I remember listening. I think it was when we were going to school. Like I was even at college age. We were in Vancouver. My dad was, I believe he was visiting, and he had Howard Stern playing, and it was something inappropriate. I probably won't say it on. I don't want to offend any of our listeners, but it was inappropriate Howard Stern stuff. And I remember even thinking, like, I'm uncomfortable listening to this as a 21-year-old.
Yeah,
with my dad. Like,
yeah.
I don't want like this is not something I like hearing. Like, I don't feel good. And my dad could tell. I think he changed it. He's like, oh, you don't like that? All right, we'll listen to something else. That was when Howard Stern was on like XM radio. So now he's like, could do whatever the fuck he wants.
And there was some experimentation with like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Man, I could talk about Howard Stern for a while. But we should probably talk about.
Go ahead, talk about Howard Stern. You fuck him?
Would you fuck him?
You fuck him? Take your shirt off.
I would. So occasionally, people. I don't know quite how this related to the actual show. I don't know if this was separate. Do you remember the TV show?
The Howard Stern.
The Howard Stern TV show.
Yeah, wasn't that just they were just filming his talk show.
But I don't know if that was also what was happening on the radio or if that was specifically like different content. I don't know.
That was the first time I encountered him. I was at my buddy's house.
Yeah.
And we found him one night, and there was a guy trying to set the record for farting, and he was just bent over farting into a microphone.
And it would be that kind of shit. Yeah.
We're like, what the hell is this?
And Zach, I'm not kidding. It'd be Friday night. My mom would rent a movie, something she thought we should see. She would actually try to like culture us.
Yeah.
And we'd watch a movie, and then my two brothers would go to bed. My mom would be watching something, and then I'd go watch TV on the other room, and it was usually Howard Stern. And I was usually waiting for the Cinemax porn to happen, scrambled. It was because you didn't get the actual movie.
Scrambled.
I would watch the scrambled porn, where like occasionally you'd get like a boobie, and
the stuff we had to do back in the 90s.
You
man.
guys don't know. If you're younger than us, you don't fucking know. You don't know.
But thank God, because if I grew up with the access to the stuff that's out there now, I don't know what a shape I would be in. It's just
very true. Very true. But
I'm glad I had to just replay that one moment in Time Cop over and over on my VCR.
But so waiting for the Skinamax movie to start so I can watch that scrambled. It would usually be there would be Howard Stern, and I would watch Howard Stern, and occasionally there would be blurred boobs on Howard Stern. And it'd be like, good enough. Good enough.
Right, yes. I definitely remember as a middle schooler being confused and excited whenever the Girls Gone Wild commercials would come on.
The Girls Gone Wild commercials.
I never have watched one of those, and for the record, they are disgusting, terrible things. But
I have watched them, and I can confirm to you they are disgusting and terrible things.
That was a major thing that was on, if you watched Comedy Central, late at night in the 90s, that was just almost nonstop Girls Gone Wild.
It was every commercial break would have the and here's a bunch of drunk, non-consenting college students showing their boobs.
Right, yeah. And it would blur out. It would blur out the boobs, but not the faces.
Right.
So that's cool.
Fucked
that's really cool
up.
It's so fucked up. It's so messed up.
On national fucking cable.
Yeah. Yeah. Not good. But anyway, middle school Zach didn't know anything about that. He just knew there were pretty ladies and they were taking their tops off and it was blurred out, but it was still exciting to him.
It's still exciting. As I remember the first time, Zach, it happened. Okay. Zach, I can tell you to the moment, the first time, it happened. And it's one of those moments that was like, so you guys do anything else, huh?
Yeah. I think most men probably had a similar moment in their youth where they were like, "Oh, this changes everything.
This changes.
Right? This is
everything
different now."
I'm not a man yet, but I can.
Oh no, not even close.
I am a little goblin now who likes this.
Yeah, anything else that I cared about just took a backseat to.
It's okay. So you know there's a caterpillar. There's a caterpillar. There's a caterpillar. And then there's the butterfly. And then there's the cocoon phase. The cocoon phase is I just learned something fun happens.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I care about. Everything is in service of making that happen.
Did you fuck the butterfly?
Did you fuck the butterfly?
Did you fuck it?
All right. Should we get back to Smallville, Doctor?
Yeah.
Okay. Clark says he wants to confront Lex, but Chloe doesn't agree. Clark insists that Chloe lets him borrow her car. She names the car. You can borrow since your super speed is out of gas, you can borrow my, and I don't remember.
Whatever we're selling this week.
Clark arrives in Lex's office and accuses him of taking his powers. Lex is angry and frustrated with Clark and reveals that he has lost both his legs in their first meeting on the bridge and is now wheelchair bound. He bitterly recounts how Clark, in his delusion, jumped in front of his car and Lex swerved to miss him. Just burping. And wrapped his car around the guardrail. He is extremely furious that Clark will not come out of his fantasy world and bitterly wishes that he had just run him over. Clark is visibly taken aback by this turn of events. I am surprised they didn't go this route, making Lex his friend again.
Yeah, because if you're going to try to get him to stay in that world, you would want them to be buddies.
It's all fine. Sort of like Lexmas situation, you know?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think that would have been good. I was going to say Rosenbaum does good. He does a great job. And I was thinking, do you think everyone else loved this episode because they only had to come in for one day and do like a scene and then leave? Everyone but Tom Welling. He's in all the scenes, but everyone else just gets to pop in for one quick scene.
People probably weren't mad at it. Zach, here's where I gotta be real. I don't think I watched the rest of this episode.
You have broken trust, Brian. You have broken trust.
That's why I'm telling you. I had it on. It was on. It was on. It played.
Okay.
I have a toddler, and life is hard sometimes. But Zach, I can't tell you a damn thing that happened after that point.
Well, luckily you can read it from the wiki.
Yep. But I am telling you,
also,
my attention deeply went away after this point. I had a lot going on. And once again, I cannot stress enough, I have a toddler. So it was on, and I was in the room. If you were to gun to my head right now, tell me what happened, I'm dead.
Well, it's okay. You know what? You're not really reading from the wiki anyway. You're reading from a napkin that you wrote on.
Yeah, because Smallville as a show, according to you, doesn't exist.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to continue if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'll give you some color here, based on the show that I did watch.
When Clark arrives at the Talon, he is shocked to see that it is still an abandoned movie theater. Lana appears and asks Clark if Lex's story is true. Lana just says that they can get through anything together. She says that they've been together since kindergarten and shows him a plastic ring, claiming that he gave it to her when they were 10. Clark gives it back and runs up to the apartment to find Chloe. Chloe assures him that they aren't crazy and they have to hide out until he gets his powers back. I do remember the scene of like this. You said this was my wedding ring, and
yeah. I mean, I watched it and I'm still like, yeah, I think that's what happened.
Clark prepares to leave with Chloe, but Lana shows up and tells Clark that Chloe has also escaped from the mental institution a few months early. Lana begs Clark to come with her to get help, and when he appears to be convinced, Chloe pushes past him. Clark begs her to stay, but she insists they will kill her when they catch her. Just then, 2 guards show up to collect them. When Chloe draws a handgun, they shoot her in the chest. She dies in Clark's arms, muttering that she is not crazy. Upset over Chloe's death, Clark allows Lana and the guards to take him back to the institution. Any thoughts?
Yep. No, you covered it all really well. Good job, Wiki. There's nothing really to say about this episode.
That's
which is why we've been talking about Howard Stern for
thank God we front loaded it. It's you'll notice the more we humor tangents, the less there is to say about the show.
Yeah. The episodes where there's nothing to say are our longest episodes.
Yes. Or the absolute shortest, but those are full stinkers.
When Chloe died, you think you wanted to fuck her? You wanted to fuck her?
We need to introduce the new character of Howard Stern, who occasionally interjects into the Smallville recaps.
Into the Smallville. Yeah. I bet he wanted to fuck her.
Okay. Dr. Hudson later tells him that he will be fine after his treatment. Clark insists he is not going to go through with it, but Dr. Hudson begins to show Clark that all of the circumstances and people that Clark thinks make up his Kryptonian background have been taken from ordinary objects in his everyday world. He shows Clark a piece of meteor rock, and Clark automatically jumps back in fear. When Dr. Hudson shows Clark that the rock is harmless to him, Clark seems to realize that Dr. Hudson is telling the truth. He realizes Chloe is really dead and slides to the ground in defeat. Clark finds the patient from the medication line is his neighbor from the restraint room. He tells Clark that he must fight, but Clark is subdued and listless. He explains that Dr. Hudson is a Phantom Zone prisoner. I have a fucking thing in my browser is like, nah. My browser fucking gave up. Now I'm back.
This is a little like drunk history, but with Smallville. And then Clark talk to the Martian.
I could write my own drunk history better than this is happening. Drunk history would be better than this. Okay, my page is reloaded. I'm looking for where we were. I can't cut all this out because that would be too much work, so it has to stay interesting the entire time. No dead air.
No dead air, no dead air, no dead air.
Keep singing that
you
song.
Want me to pull it up and read it?
No, I got it. I'm just trying to find. Clark finds the patient on the medication line is his neighbor in the restraining room. He tells Clark that he must fight, but Clark is subdued and listless. He explains that Dr. Hudson is a Phantom Zone prisoner trying to gain control of Clark's body by controlling his mind unless Clark fights back. He says he is also in his mind trying to help. For Clark to regain consciousness, but he must kill Dr. Hudson. And I understand this maybe is part of it. This all does, in fact, sound crazy.
Right, yeah. No, I think it's good. It's
Yeah.
It's like, it could. The only thing they're missing is if a way to end it on the Buffy note of like, is he?
Oh, right. But
it's a Superman show. We don't really fuck with uncertainty too much.
We don't really fuck with any sort of
ambiguity.
Right. That's the word I was looking for. He urges him to trust himself when the orderlies rush into the room. They terrorize him with a lighter and beat him up. How do they terrorize him with a lighter?
Because he's the Martian Manhunter, he's afraid of fire.
Oh, got it.
But there's like a really terrible line where one of the orderlies go, I thought you were from the red hot planet, Mars. Ooh. And I'm like, that's not something it's the red planet. It's not the red hot planet.
It's, right. I'm
pretty sure it's cold. Isn't it fucking it's further away?
It's cold as shit. But... They ain't got an atmosphere. It's so far from the fucking sun. We're not like the famous fires of Mars.
It's a desert. It's got to be hot.
Right. That's it. Okay. Clark is taken to the treatment room where Lana is waiting. Clark again tries to resist, but Lana points out that she doesn't know why Clark is so eager to return to reality in which they are apart, and he is an alien who has caused so much pain. She convinces him to take the treatment and to be normal and with her for the rest of their lives. They strap Clark to a table, and Dr. Hudson starts up a drill. Just as it advances towards Clark's head, he starts to hear a barking and growling noise. Recognizing it as Shelby, Clark realizes he is still in his barn and starts to struggle. He breaks loose and strangles Dr. Hudson. Clark wakes up in the barn with the other patient, quote unquote, mysteriously standing over him, holding a crystal that captures the Phantom. Just as Chloe arrives, Clark watches as he flies away in a streak of red light. Can I say I don't love that Clark doesn't fix the problem? This other guy comes in and fixes the problem, it seems.
No. Clark, he kills the doctor, which frees him from the thing. And then once he's free, then the Martian Manhunter kills the Phantom with his
Got it. Powers. Okay, good enough.
Sure, yeah, no, Clark did do something.
Yeah. He's active in the story.
Yeah.
Chloe takes Clark back into his house and says he was only out for a second. Clark tries to explain his fractured dream world and tells Chloe how he was willing to give up everything and everyone he loved for Lana. He says that even though she is with Lex, he must still be in love with her because they desperately want us to think that he is still, even though everything that we have implies that he shouldn't be and he should move on and probably date someone else.
someone in his life right now.
Just right now. Just right now, living in his house might be good. Recently single.
Right. That'll actually come into play next week, Brian.
Oh, will it?
Yeah, Red Kryptonite episode.
Oh, baby.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, baby. What are we doing for our Valentine's Day episode of the pod?
We got a while to figure it out.
We got a while to figure it out.
We got a while. Yeah.
Okay, Chloe asks what her role was, but Clark refrains from telling her that she was institutionalized as well. He simply says that she was the only person who believed in him. Clark runs into Lana at the Talon, and she guesses that he has something on his mind. He tells her that he dreamed they were engaged when they were 10, and Lana is amused. They have a friendly conversation, and Lex arrives. Clark says it's good to see him out and about, and Lex says he appreciates the civility. Then, as he and Lana leave together, she looks back at Clark with emotion.
We do get a old school needle drop. I don't know the song, but it's definitely like an old school, like early Smallville needle drop moment. And then the wiki is missing. Lex does say that I appreciate the civility, but then he also says, Lana, we don't want to keep the wedding planner waiting. Like, fuck you, Clark.
Yeah. Like we're doing something here. We got a storyline here. We got to keep moving.
Mine.
Yeah.
My wife.
I have a list here on the wiki of everything that made up of Clark's delusion in the mental hospital. And answered by
the usual suspect stuff.
Yes, all the usual suspect stuff. An antibacterial soap was called Jor-El.
Jor-El, yeah.
Dr. Milton Fine was called over the PA system.
Cool, I missed that.
A book titled Fortress of Solitude, which was near other books titled The Crystal Ship, and a book titled Labyrinth, which is the name of the episode. There was a magazine with the word The Phantom Zone on it.
Yes, it was like a psychology magazine.
There were pictures of Victor Stone, Arthur Curry, and Oliver Queen, but the people pictured were not the same, were not those people. The nurse's name is Raya. And
Saw that.
331 was the occupancy limit of the building.
I was like, do they normally have odd numbers as occupancy?
Yeah, right. They really got it down to the number.
Yeah.
I talked about the Buffy episode, how it ends with an element of like, yeah, no, maybe Buffy is crazy. And like she's just in a mental institution the rest of the show is. And I don't know if that was like I don't know if it's they claimed that or if Smallville would if they hadn't, like
Right.
I don't know.
It would be hard to resolve the storyline in this case.
That's very true. Right. I don't exactly remember how it goes in Buffy. But they resolve it in a way the storylines can continue, but like maybe. I'm doing a quick hunt here for some fun facts. No Lois Lane, no Lionel in this episode. Pete Ross's fate in this alternate universe is not mentioned or explored. Thanks.
Tough beat for Pete Ross. Even
I guess.
Yeah,
right.
The fantasy world that it doesn't get a mention.
In Clark's delusion, Oliver Queen is a janitor, Rhea is a nurse, Milton Fine is a doctor, Arthur Curry and Victor Stone are patients. It's fun.
Yep. It was fine. It was a fine episode. I think our no stinker streak continues, so we're three deep in this no stinker streak.
Yeah, this was not at all an unpleasant watch.
For the part that you watched.
For the most of it that I watched. I challenge everyone to have a toddler. Anyone who's got shit to talk, Have a toddler.
Uh,
But yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts? Any other fucking thoughts related to runner?
no,
unrelated?
I'm excited. I'm excited for next week.
Next week is a return to something that has been rough on this show. We don't always love when red kryptonite shows up on the show. It affects some of us in a way that...
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if it has the same effect this time. Fingers crossed.
We'll see. Fingers crossed it doesn't. Fingers crossed it doesn't.
Exactly.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Talon Mix. We appreciate every single one of you. Hey, there's a link in the description here, and it leads to our Patreon. Fuck! Sorry, but it does help support this show. The people who they pay for the Patreon, they're the saints. They're the patron saints of fucking the Talon Mix. They're incredible. And if you want to be one of them...
Fucking the Talon Mix. You fucking the Talon Mix? You fucked it?
Howard Stern wants to know if they want to fuck the Talon Mix. And we support them if they do. Thank you. Also, hey, there's probably a way to indicate that you like this podcast on the place that you're listening to this podcast. Spotify apparently has comments now. I got an email that that's a thing. If you want to experiment with that, I'll read it.
He will. He will read it and he will text it to me.
That's it. That's everything. Hey, Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
No, but my friend Howard Stern does. He wants to know, you fuck it?